Good morning everyone, and welcome to this discussion of the 2013 UK Attractiveness Survey by Ernst & Young. I'm very pleased to say I'm joined by Lord Green, Minister of State for Trade and Investment, and John Dixon, Managing Partner for Tax of Ernst & Young in the UK and Ireland. Lord Green, maybe I can start with you. The results show a 2.6% increase in inward investment projects into the UK. That must be something you're very pleased with?
Yes, I am. I mean, it shows that the UK continues to be the favoured destination within Europe. It's very important that we work hard to keep it that way because foreign direct investment is extremely important to our economy.
Any particular developments in 2012 that were particularly of importance or relevance?
Well, I suppose the outstanding thing was the phenomenal success of the Olympics, not only as an event, of course, but also as an occasion which brought together a lot of foreign direct investors, and indeed preliminary estimates suggest that we managed to attract a good load of investment in the course of the Olympics. That's very good.
And hopefully that will then continue in future years. If you've started with that, there's a
we don't get the Olympics every year, of course,
no,
but we do need to ensure that the policy environment is welcoming to foreign direct investment, that traditional cultural openness of Britain to foreigners, to foreign direct investment, continues to be vibrant and nurtured. It's extremely important to us.
And the UK did well despite a difficult market in Europe. So the European market fell by about 3%. So again, the UK's strengths with America and regaining the lead in Japanese investment in Europe. All positive developments.
Indeed. I mean, we're very pleased with the result, but you can't be complacent. Each year is a new start in terms of the competitive race, if you will. And we constantly benchmark ourselves against the international environment because we're well aware that if you are an investor sitting in wherever it might be, whether it's a Japan or a China or an America, you start looking at the world as your oyster. Where are you going to turn to? Why come to Britain? And we've got to have a very good story, and I do believe we do have a very good story.
And on those attributes, John, one that the UK improved in very significantly this year was tax. People saw the UK as a very favourable destination in terms of corporate taxation. Does that fit with your experience in the market?
Absolutely. I think the UK has now got one of the most competitive tax regimes in the developed world, certainly in the G20. It's a combination of factors. Obviously, the headline corporation tax rate reducing to 20% is an iconic rate of tax. That's great. But the combination of the reforms that we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years, the patent box, international tax reform, really have made the UK regime a very competitive one, and that's certainly resonating with the businesses that we're talking to. We're passionate about making the UK an attractive place for international business, and certainly lots of companies looking to come to the UK to take advantage essentially of the reforms that we've seen over the last couple of years.
Yes, with Patent Box I noticed that the UK was the leader in terms of attracting R&D investment into the UK, getting 23% of all R&D that went across Europe, which really does suggest that actually targeted initiatives can work.
And when you think that the patent box actually only kicked in on the 6th of April this year, the best is yet to come.
Yes, and I think we've talked about the patent box, but also headquarters as a real strength of the UK. Last year, 2012, 29 companies located as their regional or European headquarters to the UK.
Well, certainly at the recent Global Investment Conference, there was a statement made that we're talking to 40 multinational businesses about relocating regional hubs, regional headquarter operations into the UK, and that's a real number, and significant businesses are looking to relocate here.
And that seems a very positive trend. It was 12 headquarters in 2011, 29 in 2012, and if we have another 30 or 40 in the way, then that does seem to be really paying off.
Well, I think we've got to remember that these businesses do have the choice about where to invest and how much to invest, and therefore we need to maintain the momentum that we've seen over the last couple of years and continue to make the UK at the forefront for decisions that these businesses are taking.
Yes, Lord Green, and some of the feedback we received from investors in our survey was the UK had done very well in terms of financial flexibility, support to SMEs, and also trade missions. However, we do see Germany continuing to be a very strong competitor. Could you maybe just share some of the plans for how the UK will continue to try to improve its competitiveness?
Well, Germany is a strong competitor indeed. Germany has been gaining ground. And indeed, in terms of investment from some of the newer sources of investment, India, China, Germany actually does a better job than Britain. So we're very conscious of the need to be competitive. There are no magic wands in this. You work hard to get the tax environment right, the regulatory environment as user-friendly as you can make it, the cultural environment right. I do stress that because it's terribly important, and I think one of the things that people like about this country is it is a crossroads of the world in so many ways. Yeah. And take a place like London, where there are hundreds of different language groups where you can find people from that language group in terms of skill base. In so many ways, we have to ensure that this is a competitive, welcoming regime, and by which I mean policy framework, I mean regulations, but also culture, the legal system. I mean, one of the things that people like about this country is the common law system, the knowledge that if you have a contractual issue, you can get it enforced in the courts in a completely straightforward manner. All of this is part of the proposition, and we need to ensure that this is world-class competitive.
And I do agree with that, and it seems from the responses we had last year that the UK has done well on both those soft attributes, such as the culture, but actually stronger in some of the, if you like, harder attributes. So transport and logistics was received very positively. So it does seem as though the two sides are coming together very well in that. My last question is, we are obviously in the European market, and we see difficulties in the Eurozone and the European Union, but that also potentially offers opportunities for the UK. For example, French investment in the UK increased significantly last year. Is that something that the government is actively thinking about?
Oh, absolutely, and indeed I spend a good deal of my time meeting with major investors into this economy from all over the world, whether it's Japan or France or Germany or America or India or China. These are all important sources of foreign direct investment for us, and it's important for us to market the case. Britain is a great bridgehead for the rest of Europe. Yes, Europe has got some issues at the moment. We all know about that. It's slow growing, likely to continue to be slow growing. It's nevertheless a market of 500 million wealthy people, and therefore it's the world's largest single trading bloc. So there are fantastic opportunities even within Europe, but also Britain is, of course, also a bridgehead for much of the rest of the world too, as it's in the right time zone, has the language, the legal system, and we believe also a tax environment and a regulatory environment which is there to help.
And John, when we look at the survey responses, American and Asian investors particularly seem very interested in the tax regime and understanding what the benefits will be there.
I think we're seeing interest actually from across the globe. So obviously US multinationals are very focused on the UK, but also European businesses we've heard, Asian business as well. And I think the most important thing, is to maintain the momentum that we've started. And business likes certainty, so knowing that the regime is going to continue will be very important to maintain the investment stream that we see already occurring.
That's very encouraging. So Lord Green and John Dixon, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.